Welcome, fellow nerds, to this episode of Nerd Shit, hosted by Lord Brad and Riorik, where we discuss all things nerd. Whether it's anime, movies, comic books, video games, Magic the Gathering, or Dungeons & Dragons. If it's nerd, we talk about it. So pull up your favorite chair, pour a glass of mead, and get ready to come and discuss everything nerd shit. Welcome back, nerds, to the Nerd Shit podcast, and we're going to be changing stuff up for Season 2.
Yeah, I think what we did, we sat down and we looked at Season 1, and we noticed that our episodes are kind of long.
Very long.
So for Season 2, we're going to mix things up a little bit. We're going to focus on pretty much one topic every episode instead of trying to, get in two topics or more. Hopefully that'll allow us to focus a little bit and get our episode times down to a little bit more reasonable length. And what else are we changing?
We're just going to be talking about, basically just Marvel, DC related stuff. We'll talk about video games and animes and stuff when there's not none, but we're going to focus on like what's big and not overly saturated. Magic's got so many channels now.
There are a lot of channels on Magic, so we're just kind of getting lost in the crowd. And we don't do hardcore. We play and we enjoy Magic, but we're not hardcore Magic podcasters. So we're gonna talk about things that everybody kind of likes to chit chat about and hear what other people talk about, and that's movies and video games and stuff. I mean, that seems to be pretty popular these days, right?
Yeah.
So, because we're nerds, we're gonna focus on Marvel, DC. That's kind of where it's at these days.
And adjacent stuff, like stuff that's still
Yeah. I mean, Marvel, DC, they both license video games. They both license comic books. They both license collectibles, things like that.
Yeah. Well, and there's also like your Berserk comic book series.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's definitely not Marvel or DC.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So.
But we'll still touch on some of those things as they relate to other things, because John Wick isn't he somehow related to one of those franchises?
Probably.
I think so. And he's talking about trying to join Marvel.
Yeah.
So, as Keanu Reeves does stuff, that leads us over to Berserk too. But we're not going to go down that path today. Like I said, we're going to try and focus.
Yeah. And hopefully by the end of Season 2, we can change Season 3 into you blind reading One Piece. It's a comic book.
Uh-huh. But that requires me to read.
It's not really reading, but go ahead. It's a comic book.
But it requires me to read.
You read Berserk. You read the Sandman thing. No.
Yeah, I do read those. Yeah, okay. I'll give you that one, but there's so much to One Piece. It's like reading Pride and Prejudice.
There's only like 14 pages a chapter.
Yeah, but there's like 8,000 chapters.
There's only 1,071.
That's episodes. I'm not talking
No,
episodes.
that's chapters.
Oh, okay. Still, that's a lot. Anyway, enough about One Piece. That's not a topic for today.
It's a comic book. I'm just saying at the end of it, we could get you to read it.
Well, we'll worry about Season 3 when Season 3 rolls around. How about that? So what's on tap for today?
Well, we got the release schedules for this year.
Okay. Well, that kind of helps to set the stage of expectations for when certain topics may be of interest in Season 2 then.
Yeah.
So if we're going to be focusing on Marvel versus DC, those release schedules could be very important to episodes.
Yeah.
So what does Marvel have coming out in 2023?
Well, coming next month, we got Ant-Man.
And that's the one where it's him, Wasp, his daughter, and they go into the quantum realm and they fight Krang. I think isn't it Krang?
Kang. I think it's Kang.
Krang is the guy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Kang. I always get those mixed up. So, but he's the bad guy from the Disney Plus series for Loki.
Yeah, he's in charge of the timeline stuff.
Yeah, so if you've not watched Loki to the end, you need to finish Season 1 of Loki before you go watch Ant-Man to get a better understanding of what's going on there.
Yeah, and I think people underappreciate the Ant-Man. They're pretty funny.
They are. They're really good. I actually saw a meme the other day that had a screenshot from the new Ant-Man sitting alongside the screenshot from Thor: Love and Thunder, and they're like, how is Ant-Man a more serious movie than Thor. You know? But yeah, so I'm kind of looking forward to Ant-Man. You know, I'll be honest, Ant-Man and the Wasp I watched, but I didn't watch intently. It was kind of on, and I had a bunch of other stuff going on at the time, so I need to go back and watch Ant-Man and the Wasp again.
Liked it.
What else do we have this year?
We got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming in May
5th. So we've got May the 4th be with you for Star Wars Day, and then the next day we get Guardians.
They could be in the same universe, let's be honest. They're still in space.
Yeah. A galaxy far, far away.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. They could honestly work in the same universe.
Well, you know, the Jedi were kind of the Guardians of the Galaxy for a while, and then they fell out of fashion. So I guess the Guardians, you know, Peter Quill and the gang have stepped up to fill the role of the Jedi now that the Jedi are gone.
He could be a Jedi. His dad's a god. We don't know what powers he has yet.
We're not going to discount it. And then, like a month later, we've got the new Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Spider-Verse. I'm looking forward to it.
Now, this is the animated one that's a sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or something like that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
And this is the one that focuses on Miles Morales, that's right. So that one should be good, because I really liked that first Into the Spider-Verse. That was actually really good.
Yes, I think they did really good on it.
Yeah, when they first announced it, I was like, I'm kind of worn out on Spider-Man, but you and your brother showed it to me.
Oh, and yeah, and I
loved it.
want you to know we both were, when we showed it to you, before we showed it to you, we thought we were going to hate the movie. It was going to be bad. We were like, we're not, it's for kids, and we don't know. It seems kind of Hollywood.
But
we watched it. It was good.
Yeah. So if you've not watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, definitely check that one out. But be prepared, because in June you get a sequel to it, and we've got high hopes for that one.
Mm-hmm. What the heck is the next one?
So the Marvels that come out in July, if I'm not mistaken, that's Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel together, maybe?
Oh, that makes sense.
I know it's the sequel to Captain Marvel, but there's other stuff that gets brought into it, and I just can't remember who all it is.
I'm going to not watch it.
I know you're not a fan of Captain Marvel.
Hater.
Not one of my favorite of the Marvel movies, but I'll check it out just because I check it out. I check them all out.
I don't know. I just don't like Captain Marvel.
I know. Now, here's an interesting one. It's technically on the list, but it's not technically part of the MCU.
I kind of like what Sony's doing here, too.
Yeah.
Kraven the Hunter by Sony. He's a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
They did Venom, and now they're doing Kraven. And if y'all don't know about Kraven, he's pretty good. He beat Spider-Man up a lot.
And if I'm not mistaken, Kraven is being played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, who, if the name doesn't sound familiar to you, he was the lead guy in Kick-Ass.
Green suit.
Yeah, the guy in the green suit. He was Kick-Ass in Kick-Ass. And then if you've watched Bullet Train recently, the Brad Pitt movie, he was one of the twins, Lemon and Tangerine. He was the white one. I know that sounds a little racist, I guess, but it's probably the easiest way to remember which one was which.
But yeah, and they're not going to do it in this one, but Kraven the Hunter is one of the people that has killed Spider-Man, became Spider-Man, and was like, I'm done being Spider-Man.
So yeah, he could be very interesting. We'll have to see how that one plays out. And again, it's being released by Sony. It's not a true Marvel movie, but it is a Spider-Man movie, so it's connected to Marvel.
Yeah.
And then I think that's really it for their movie releases on the calendar year for 2023 right now. I know they've shuffled things around. You know, COVID came and screwed up a lot of productions, and everybody's release schedules have shifted so that they don't have a whole lot on tap for 2023 movie-wise. But they also have a lot of their TV shows, their Disney Plus stuff this year.
Yeah, and I don't have Disney Plus at my house, so I'll have to come over here to watch it. And then usually when I do that, we only watch like one or two out of the year.
Well, because you come over like once a day or once a week, once a month, something like that. And, we just don't have a whole lot of time to watch. But so on Disney Plus this year in the early half of 2023, I don't have a release date yet. The next season of What If. And What If was there like animated alternate timelines and alternate universes type thing?
pretty good. They have a bunch of
Yeah.
comics that they use to base it off. Those are good.
So we should be getting season 2 of that. This summer we get season 1 of Echo, who's a new character that's going to play out in the Marvel timelines moving forward. I don't remember a whole lot of her backstory. The name's familiar to me because she shows up in a lot of different Marvel games, but I don't know a whole lot about the character offhand. So we're going to have to do a little bit of research on Echo. And then also in the summer, we get Loki season 2. They did renew Loki for another season.
You think is it gonna follow the suit right after Ant-Man? Like, I didn't watch the end of Loki, so I don't know if he's still trapped over there or not.
He is. He's still trapped over there. I don't necessarily know that I would call it trapped.
Okay.
As much as he's still hanging out in there.
Okay.
So it should be interesting to see what Loki season 2 brings. And then we also get Ironheart this summer, which is another one of the power armor Iron Man type things. And this is going to revolve around a girl. In some stories, I think Ironheart was like Tony Stark's daughter.
Some
some
of them, she's some student of his or
Yeah,
a university of his.
I think this is kind of one of those child prodigy type situations.
Yeah.
And then Disney's bringing something in this fall called X-Men 97. And I don't know if that's a new series and that's the name, or if they're going to bring the X-Men cartoon from the late 90s into Disney's
I hope
portfolio.
it's the cartoon. I bet it's the cartoon. Because if it's X-Men 97, then like they're going to have to like pick a cast just for that and then not use them again?
Well, I was thinking, well, is that like some story arc somewhere? But I can't think of a story arc for X-Men 97. I don't know. So I'm hoping it's the animated series they may have finally got the rights to or something. I don't know.
Well, it did play on Disney, so it makes sense.
And then this winter, we've got Agatha, Coven of Chaos, which is the follow-up to WandaVision.
That is one I've seen.
Yeah, so Agatha was the main antagonist in WandaVision, and her character ended up being so popular that she got her own series now. So you end up with the backstory for Agatha. But that pretty much is all that Marvel's got on tap that we've been able to confirm for this year. What about DC? Where are we starting on DC?
Oh, we got my favorite. We got Shazam! Fury of the Gods coming in March.
Yeah. So and Shazam's kind of an interesting one because of all the shakeup at DC right now.
Yeah.
He's pretty much the only DC character that we haven't heard of losing his role.
Yeah.
So Zachary Levi, as far as we know, will continue to be Shazam after this movie.
I hope so. I like him, and I like Shazam. I think it was their best movie.
Yeah, they would be fools to scrap Shazam, seeing as how that's been kind of their best outing. Yeah. They have another interesting one on the list, and this one is the one that just surprised me when I saw it. The Flash comes out in June, kind of a little bit after the Spider-Man movie, but it's starring Ezra Miller, who
is in a lot of trouble all the time.
If you haven't heard, Ezra Miller has been having several run-ins with the law and things like that, and they've chalked it up to some mental health issues and things of that nature. But there was a lot of doubt that the Flash movie would ever be released, like DC was going to cut ties and distance himself from him when so many problems happened. But no, the Flash movie's coming. A lot of people are eyeballing this as a
flashpoint.
Yeah, a flashpoint to reboot the DC universe. And after I looked up the release schedules, I was trying to figure out, is this just kind of a one-off movie that they already had made and was just too expensive to cut? And no, I actually saw an article where somebody was talking about the decision to release the movie and use Ezra Miller as the Flash, and the statement was basically, look, there were some issues there, they're seeking treatment, they're on the road to recovery. We don't see any reason to to do it as long as things continue to progress positively. So the powers that be at DC think there's hope for Ezra to come back around, and they want to stick with him. I guess they think his portrayal of the Flash is worth that risk. I mean, look at what the risk for RDJ did for Iron Man.
Yeah, I think I'm going to boycott that movie. I don't think he does a good Flash, and I think 90% of people don't like him.
Well, the only time I really saw the Flash in a movie was the Justice League, and I hated the Justice League, so I just didn't pay attention in principle.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm torn on this one.
I don't like Urza Miller as a
Yeah.
character. I don't like him as a person.
The one in August, I think, is one that you're pretty interested in.
Yes, the Blue Beetle. God, finally seeing that be live action would be awesome.
So give me some history on Blue Beetle.
Okay, so in the early 2000s, he did have his own cartoon show.
The Tick?
No, the Blue Beetle. It was an animated one. You see him in the fighting games where he's just a kid with a suit, and the suit is basically kind of like Venom in a way. No, it's kind of its own thing. Whatever it attaches to now has the powers, and it adapts to whatever. So it can become bulletproof, it can become slash proof. As long as it's seen it and it's faced it, it adapts. It's a suit that's always adapting. Basically, if Iron Man got a hold of it, to say goodbye to every villain in the Marvel-verse.
Nice.
But yeah, it's some space bug, some space tech that landed on Earth and just attached to a kid.
Nice. Okay. So that one's definitely worth checking out. And that one's, what, mid-August?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at the end of the year for DC, we've got Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which in theory, or at least the current assumption by most, is that it will be Jason Momoa's last outing as Aquaman. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. Did we talk about it back at the end of season 1 or not?
Maybe, but there's just a small talk. I don't think it was ever confirmed. It was just people questioning it.
Yeah. We haven't heard any confirmations, but there has been some online discussion about Jason Momoa giving up Aquaman and becoming Lobo.
Their version of a roided up Deadpool.
Yeah. But while we're on the topic of the DC movies, there are a couple of notable points of interest, though. So those 4 movies are the only 4 movies DC's got confirmed for this calendar year. But
hopefully 2 of them end their little Justice League thing.
Yeah, we'll see. But the Wonder Woman Part 3, James Gunn has confirmed that it is done. There was
canceled or like the movie's done.
They canceled it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's canceled, done.
Yeah.
There was a lot of conversation about why that was canceled. You know, people were throwing around different ideas, but James Gunn basically just said, "Look, we're going a new direction on things, and it just didn't make sense to continue that character story arc in the way it was."
Yeah.
On that note, he did also say, I think in that same interview, that he is actually writing a new Superman movie. So there will be a new Superman movie coming at some point in the future, but it will not have Henry Cavill at the lead. You know, he did also confirm that they will bring in a new Superman for whatever it is he's writing. They haven't given any indication as to who that is, but it makes me kind of wonder if they're looking to go to a younger group for some of this stuff. You know, maybe like a Smallville type timeline or a Lois and Clark type timeline.
I think it'd be cool if they went like a Teen Titans type of thing into a Justice League, and that's just the story they followed. Like, they didn't have to have the Justice League. They could just have the Teen Titans that turned into the Justice League if they want to do something like that.
Yeah.
I like the Teen Titans.
But with James Gunn writing it, I'm curious to see. I mean, I liked what he did with the Guardians of the Galaxies. Mm-hmm. So I'm wanting to see this one. But DC, like Marvel, they have their own TV shows. A lot of their TV shows were on CW. And in the recent year or two, a lot of them have been canceled, come to a close, things like that. And then with this new direction at DC, they've said that this current season of The Flash, which is season 9, that's going to be the final season for that show. They said they're going to do 13 episodes, which I think is less than normal for that show.
Oh, that sounds like an average season for me.
Yeah, but they're gonna they're going to bring that series to an end and move on from that. I did see that Peacemaker Season 2 was still on the slate for DC shows. There was no release date for it, but it didn't say that it was canceled like so many of the others. So the future of Peacemaker is a little bit up in the air with this change in direction too.
It could just be, they made a contract with John Cena, and it's kind of hard to get out of contracts with,
the WWE.
Yeah. He would know.
Well, yeah, because John Cena
is owned.
Sold his name, basically, to the WWE, so anything that he does under the name John Cena, the WWE get a cut of, basically. Mm-hmm. Which is wild.
He does not regret it from what it looks like. He's all over the place, covered with money. He's doing great. He does not care.
Yeah, I mean,
sure, it probably has its drawbacks. He probably hates it from time to time, but seems to be doing just fine.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm curious to see it. I enjoyed the first season of Peacemaker. I mean, there were a lot of comical elements to it. It wasn't the greatest show out there, but it wasn't bad. I mean, there were some fun parts to it. So if they got a season 2 out of it, I wouldn't be disappointed.
From what I've seen of it, the way everything just kind of played off just kind of reminded me of The Tick. Not like the story or anything, just kind of how it looked and how it felt.
Yeah, it was very Tickish, because he was kind of dumb, kind of naive, just like the Tick.
The way it just looked very similar.
Yeah, it kind of had that similar feel to it. And I enjoyed the Tick. I was really disappointed Amazon canceled that.
Same.
But all right. Well, I think that's about all we've got for this episode. Just a quick glance at what is to come this year.
Do you have any favorites that you can't wait on? I think I already know.
Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be my absolute for sure flick of the season. Shazam, I'm going to want to watch Shazam. So those will probably be my 2 marquee movies from each I guess you could say studio. What about you?
Mine's the same. And I'm very curious on the Blue Beetle. Very curious.
Yeah. So I'm sure as these dates get closer, we'll recircle and talk more about those movies. And we'll probably include reviews afterwards or something. Try not to include too many spoilers. Yeah. But my goal is to try and see as many of these in the theater as I can.
Yeah, I might have to watch The Flash just for this, but I ain't going to enjoy it.
You never know. It might surprise you. It may not, but it might.
Yeah, I doubt it. It's from original DC before the reboot, so yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah. It's got the old writers and everything else, so it's probably going to be kind of wild.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up for this week.
Yeah.
Next episode, I think we kind of wanted to touch on some of the video games that these studios inspired or some of these movies inspired.
Yeah, and there's not going to be much on that, so then we'll probably just devolve into playing the newest games that we got.
Or arguing over One Piece.
One Piece is great. There's no arguing. That's a fact.
I don't argue that it's not a great show. I argue over your constant harassment for me to watch 1,000-something episodes.
You're the closest person to me half the time. If you were living with me, I was trying to do it with Dylan all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, I got him to watch Hunter x Hunter. That's all that mattered to me.
I still hadn't got to watch that one either.
I'm trying to get him to at least watch something with over 100 episodes. And he did. That's all that mattered. I got Jared to do the same thing.
I watched Family Guy. It's got over 100 episodes.
That's just disappointing.
I watched South Park. It's got well over 100 episodes.
You'll watch South Park, but you won't watch One Piece? They're the same amount.
Well, no, but I started watching South Park years ago, and it's taken me years to get to this point. You're wanting me to watch all of One Piece in a day, and I just can't do it.
No, it took me a year.
So, we'll get there eventually. You have to give me time.
I don't know. I've been harassing you for a year.
I know. And the more you harass me, the longer I'll procrastinate.
Dylan said the same thing about Hunter x Hunter. And then I got one extra person involved in it. And then I got him to watch it.
Have you watched Food Wars yet?
Yes. Okay. I don't need anyone to harass me on anime. I've watched them.
Uh-huh.
I haven't watched anything since 2017. So I have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to have to wrap up. We've got a new puppy, and she's crying, so I think I need to take her outside.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, until next time, nerds, that's fantastic.
God damn it.
Hey, until we get a new one, that's what I got to go with.
Yeah.
So one of these movies is going to have to give us a new closer.
It could be Ant-Man saying, I can't wait to go ant on this man. I don't know.
No.
Oh, when he morbs. It's Morbin time.
Now, there is a new Morpheus movie, but it's not coming out this year. So it's not on this list.
Damn.
Yep.
I can't believe they agreed to that.
I know. But, all right. Until next time, people, keep nerding. Thank you for listening to this episode of Nerd Shit. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/LordBradBrad to see when new episodes drop. Or you can find our channel on YouTube. Just search Lord Brad Brad and look for our logo. You can listen to all of your favorite episodes of Nerd Shit directly from our website, www.lordbradbrad.com, where you can also learn a little bit more about us and the products we use and reference on the show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to donate to the show, we gladly accept donations at coffee.com/LordBradBrad. That's coffee, spelled ko-fi.com/LordBradBrad. Or you can just click the link at the bottom of our website. If you have any comments on anything discussed in this episode or would like to suggest a topic you would like to hear us talk about in a future episode, hit us up on our Facebook page. Again, that's facebook.com/LordBradBrad. Until next time, this is Riorik signing off and telling you to keep doing that nerd shit because you know we will.